And 2.0 is really the continuation of that mindset, this idea of, maybe if I'm going to a specialist, like I'm just going to trust them. I don't go to I don't know anything about cars. I go to a place and the guy goes, hey, you need to fix this? Okay, like that's what I'm gonna do, and so I'm not gonna argue with somebody. Like, I don't see why going to dinner should be any different. Yeah, maybe people know a little bit more about what they like or what they don't, but at the same time, saying you don't like tomatoes is such a broad statement. It's like, okay, well, do you not like cooked tomatoes? You don't like raw tomatoes? You don't like tomatoes in January? You don't like tomatoes that are from this farm? I mean, that's like saying you don't like people. It's like, well, maybe there's sometimes people you don't like, but how can you make such a general statement? Sure. Do you like ketchup? I mean, that has tomato in it. Like, maybe there's a way that you can like it. And so we always tell people, it's like, look, man, we don't like some things either, but if we're serving it, we obviously think that you're going to like it. And so, the continuation of it over here is like, we're just going to make you dinner, and you're trusting that it's going to be good.
And is it a tasting menu?
It's a tasting menu. Or vegetarian. There's a night that's fully vegetables. If you love beef, we do a steakhouse night that I guarantee rivals any steak experience you can have in the business. If you're getting a better steak experience than that, it's going to cost you $300, $400 a person. There's no way you can have a better time than hanging out with us, getting to try 6 different cuts of beef, all prepared, the same way, with 6 different vegetable sides. I mean, it's just like nobody else could do that, but because we have 18 guests sitting at one time and we're controlling the entire experience, like we can really go for it. All of our bread that we're serving for that goes into the oven when our party is complete. So it comes out 12 minutes into your dinner. It's the hottest, freshest bread you'll ever have in your life. Like, other restaurants can't compete with that.
Do you have a bakery?
Bakery's opening in just about a month. We're definitely getting ready right now. We've been having about 2 to 3 people every day coming and kind of auditioning for the job. Definitely, we want to get everybody hired pretty sooner rather than later. But yeah, bakery's coming like a nightmare. Nothing we can do to stop.
What does that audition go like?
Well, I mean, bake something. It's kind of what it is. They're tasting the food that I made. Like, oh yeah, this is Jason's food. It's like, but realistically, like, there's times you could come here and I wouldn't have even touched anything that you had. It's more about the state of mind that we've kind of set up here as far as a place for people to knowingly make mistakes and take risks and try things that maybe they're not sure if it's going to work or not.
Sure.
This is that place. That's why it's called Playground. That's why we run it the way we do. That people say Nazi-esque or whatnot. It's like, look, man, we're experimenting too much to sit here and deal with your finicky allergy bullshit. You know what I mean? Totally. We can't be in a position where we're looking at all these other things because we've never cooked all those changes.
Yeah.
So it's starting to be that anyone who hasn't been here before, they're reading at least that about us. They know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And that's great. And that's all that we ask. I mean, if you know what you're getting yourself into ahead of time, there's no way you're going to have a bad time. It's only if you show up thinking this is Cheesecake Factory that you're going to be disappointed because we don't have your filet medium well with your broccoli and your mashed potatoes,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I mean, that's something that people want to eat. It's just, what we've found is that if we're making something that you can have anywhere else in the world, we're not doing you a disservice. I mean, you had all the options of where to go to dinner. You decided you wanted to join us here. We should give you something unique and something that is an experience. What we found is, a lot of restaurants claim like, oh, well, it's hard because of the recession. What we found is that people are happy to spend money. They just want to get something from it. They want to feel like they've got a value that's worth it. I think that's why places like, that where you're paying for more than just the food, you're paying for the tabletop, you're paying for the candles. Those places, I think, are the ones that are suffering, as opposed to, people like us, we're totally bare bones. You're basically just paying for your food and your drink.
So you're kind of on the thought that fine dining is dead, but good food still alive.
I don't think it's dead. I think it's definitely not as popular as it once was. I think it's food in a much more casual environment, and I think that's what everybody wants. Nobody wants to dress up every night of the week to go to a fancy dinner, and I mean, some people I'm sure want to, but not everybody. And people need a place that they can eat on Tuesdays as well as a place on Saturdays. You can't. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have no problem, filling 18 seats at, $100 to $150 a person. That's not cheap for dinner, but it's incredible value for what you're actually getting when you sit.